And as I was saying, my life kind of goes from one miracle to another in terms of just how accurate vibration is in bringing things in. What I find a lot of is that the thought often brings the opposite thought. In other words, as I reach for that thought that feels really good, oftentimes the opposite thought of that will come in and change the vibration.
And this is good, because think about what you're saying here. What you're saying is, as I think about what I want, that my vibration that is really dominant comes to the forefront. In other words, as I think about what I want, relative to the same subject, the vibration that really is the dominant vibration within me is activated, and now your work begins. That's wonderful acknowledgement. You've heard us say that you always know more clearly what you don't want when you know what you do want, and you always know more clearly what you do want when you know what you don't want. In other words, they're like opposite ends of the same stick, but when you pick up the stick, you've picked up the stick.
Right. In struggling through these thoughts of what I want, sometimes it's not always...
Here's a different word. Rather than struggling through, sift through.
As I sift through these thoughts of what I want, oftentimes it seems that I don't know. I mean, I know experiences I want to have, and I can bring that in, but what is most in alignment with that core vibration of who I am is not always something that is gotten at with thought. And it's like I'll reach and I'll just like, this has got to be it. And I think that it's almost like I need to sit back and relax and idle.
Well, don't work too hard at it. And the thing is, if something is activated enough within you to produce an emotion, positive or negative emotion, then it's activated enough for you to discern it. And so we think by remembering, in other words, we are not so concerned that you pinpoint the specifics of it as we are wanting you to change the way you feel.
Exactly.
And so, in other words, as we were talking to our friend earlier, you don't have to take that one sticking point that's in your vibration and modify it so it doesn't stick anymore. You just have to practice thinking around it so that it doesn't get activated so much. In other words, you just need to keep approaching this. It's like, let's take a situation like your physical body. And so let's say that you weigh more than you want to weigh. And when you think about physical body weight, you say, well, how do I feel about my physical weight? Do I feel on top of it? Do I feel good in my body? Do I feel fit? Or do I feel out of control? Do I feel fat? And each individual can answer that. In other words, you know what the dominant vibration is within that. So then you say, well, I've been struggling with this for a long time, and it's hard for me to change the way I feel about that. So then we say, well, then step back a little bit more and ask yourself, how do you feel about your body in general? Are you appreciating your body, or do you find your body to be a problem for you? Well, I appreciate it more. It goes both ways a little bit, but dominantly I appreciate it. How do I feel relative to the health of my body? Well, do I feel healthy or do I feel vulnerable? I feel healthy. How do I feel relative to my dexterity? Fabulous. How do I feel relative to my flexibility? Quite good. How do I feel relative to my balance? Really good. And so what you do is you just practice the parts of the way you feel about your body that are predominantly and easily good feeling until that just dominates, and in doing so you de-emphasize the part where you have a sticking point. And even if you never change that sticking point, if it's so not dominant and the other parts are so dominant, you've shifted your vibration enough. In other words, we're never saying that the physical human approach often is we need to look out into the world, we need to find the problems and fix them. And once all the problems are fixed, then we'll be in a better place. And we say, we don't want you to try to do that with your vibration. We don't want you to sift through your vibration and fix everything. We want you to practice the parts of your vibration that serve you and let the others become inactive and dormant. Every thought that's ever been thought still exists. And we are not suggesting for a moment that we will erase those thoughts from your memory bank. We're just wanting to practice the activation of others so much that they're the ones that come to the forefront, because that's the most practiced, that's the dominant thought, you see. Some of you have had the experience where you've had someone in your home who has a strong personality, and that personality kept evoking something within you. And then you moved away, and you interacted with other people, and you, little by little, sort of became a different person than that. Then you went home and became that person again overnight, because someone there activated that vibration. So that's the only reason that we would spend time in trying to change the vibration, is if there were someone in your life experience that for some reason you're wanting to hold in your experience that keeps activating a vibration within you that isn't serving you very well, then you might want to really go to work on changing that vibration so that it doesn't go back. But it's not necessary in most cases at all. Just practice good feeling thoughts until that is your normal offering of vibration. When Esther thinks about her life in general, if we were to say, Esther, how do you feel in terms of financial well-being or security in general? Do you feel secure or insecure? No question. She feels secure and has for a very long time. If we said, how do you feel about your physical body? Do you feel healthy and sure-footed, or do you feel vulnerable and tentative? Healthy and sure-footed. She feels vital and alive. If we were to say, Esther, how do you feel about your dominant relationship? Does it feel life-giving or like a struggle? Life-giving, no question about it. If we were to say to Esther, how do you feel about your work overall? Is it a value? Is it something you want to do, or is it easy to do, or is it hard to do? No question. It's easy to do. I love doing it. I'm good at doing it. It's no question. If we were to say, Esther, how do you feel about your work in general? Do you feel absolutely free, or do you feel overwhelmed? She would say, overwhelmed. She would say, all aspects of my life are wonderful. I just have a little more to do that I'm absolutely comfortable in doing. So we would say to her, rather than trying to change the issue of overwhelmment, just keep focusing upon how life-giving your life is and how much you love it. And just practice that until that feeling of overwhelmment is so insignificant in ratio relationship to the way you dominantly feel about your life. But if you're running around all day, something that Esther notices happens to them is that people are very often wanting to interface with them in some way. And their plate is already really full. And so then a sort of defensiveness comes up to explain to these dear people why they can't go to one more city, or why they cannot collaborate on a book, or why they cannot get involved in this. And out of that comes a sort of defensiveness that says, we really have too much to do. I got 247 emails yesterday, and I haven't even had time to take a look at them. And so there are many things that happen that causes Esther to activate that vibration of overwhelmment. She knows it does not serve her. And so what she's doing now is practicing vibrations of well-being. In other words, she's wanting to find ways of expressing in very positive, life-giving, dominating the vibration that feels good ways without being defensive or justifying, you see. As a general rule, anytime that you are defending, anytime you are justifying anything, you're usually adding power, causing a vibration you don't want to become more active, because you're explaining all of the reasons that you can't go forward rather than all of the reasons that you're wanting to go forward, you see. That's just a little basis here. So let's continue. Yes.
And so oftentimes I think that there's a sort of universal knowing, that there's this sort of understanding of what my energy is beyond what I'm aware of.
But what that is about, you have to understand that every time you have ever been in a situation where contrast causes you to identify a preference or give birth to a desire, every preference, big or small, that has been born within you, source energy has received fully as a question and has gone to work immediately on answering. And so you're absolutely right. Source energy knows much more clearly, much more succinctly, much more precisely, much more wholly all that you want. And sometimes, as our friend said earlier, sometimes you are in a different vibrational place from your own desire, so you don't even recognize what's unfolding before you. But source energy is always aware of the relationship between what source energy knows you want and what you want, and where you stand in this vibrational moment relative to what you want. Somebody asked us a while back, what is your role, Abraham, in the non-physical realm of our creation? And we said, we are not only your cheerleaders, who are rooting for your success in achieving whatever you are wanting. We actually visualize on your behalf. In the moment that you identify that you want something, we see it as done. We anticipate it as done. We are part of that energy stream that causes the unfolding that unfolds. Those miracles that you talk about happening in every day, your source energy, the inner part of you, all that is part of the unfolding of all of those. Your work is you've got to be vibrationally compliant with your own desire.
Right.
Because if you're not, even though you've set it into motion and even though source energy is carrying it forth, you can't let it into your life, you see, until your vibration is dominantly in harmony with it.
Exactly. And that's a large part of my wanting today, which is that to be in touch with that source energy, to be in touch with that inner core of myself, not to get sidelined by the thoughts this way or that way, but to really be able to trust how the universe has these situations unfold, and that I can allow myself that well-being of receiving what source energy perceives.
We would like to say to you, just trust it. But those words fall on deaf ears often because you want evidence and proof, and you're getting it every day, as you said to us. So what we would do is we would just accept that when I feel good, I'm vibrationally compliant with my own desires. And when I feel bad, I am resistant to my own desires. And so we would just keep reaching for the thought that feels better. And sometimes it's not easy for you to do that because you've practiced the thought that doesn't feel better more. As Esther is visiting with Tracy, Tracy has a new baby who is a month old. And as Esther is visiting with Tracy, who has had a fussy baby all day today, and Tracy is exhausted. She hasn't been getting very much sleep, and she doesn't quite know what to do. And as Esther is wanting to soothe Mother, because Mother can't soothe baby from a not soothed place, and as Esther is attempting to soothe Tracy, Tracy, and it is understandable, wants to talk about how it's been going. She wants to talk about the hard day that she's had. And Esther wants her to understand that she cannot talk about the hard day that she's had and change it to a less hard day. But the hard day has been so pervasive. It's so... You don't understand, Tracy will say. You don't understand. You don't understand what this day has been like. And Esther is saying, and it will be better for you if you don't make me understand. Because if I listen to you and you make me understand, then there are three of us in this mess together. You see.
Well, yeah, to be in touch with that source, to have that opportunity always for receiving like the best that's available for what's in alignment with myself.
Well, it's always there. So the key is to find some aspect of your life where you line up easily. Go there, practice being there, savor the feeling of that. Then tiptoe out into a new area and try to find a balance that feels good within that. But the key is to maintain your balance. Maintain your balance. In other words, get into a good feeling place, then broach the new subjects, doing your very best to hold them in good feeling places. And just little by little by little, practicing the life-giving thought until that's the thought that comes first. You see.
Thank you. Also, with intuition, that when you talk about, or the situation that was coming up before, where the person's predominant influence will pull certain things away, that you might not want to experience out of yourself.
Where somebody else has a vibration going on within them that is very, very significant, and then they activate it within you.
Right.
And you don't notice that they've activated it, so you don't do anything to balance. You just go with it until you're sort of swept away in a current that you didn't mean to be swept away in.
Yes, and how to develop the intuition around where others are living.
Well, here's
where
the thing.
Are they?
You see, you don't have to do that, because that sort of what that suggests is I have to anticipate where everybody's vibration might be, and then I have to get ready for it. And it's so much easier to just get in a good place. In other words, you don't have to worry about what their vibration is if your vibration is one of connection. Because if your vibration is one of connection, you're going to dominate the vibration. You see.